Hi everybody, this is Mr. Suriani, it's my wife, and we're going to give you a quick tour of our little greenhouse here and what we got going on in our greenhouse and how we've done some things different this year. So we're actually going to start off by, she's going to give us a tour of what we got growing in here.
These are seed onions. You can buy little bags of them. And the onions are about as big as a marble when you get them. And they don't have this green growth on them. They might have a little tip on them where the green will start growing.
So how much of that is new?
So all of this green is new. It's just a little tan, dried out onion, about the size of a marble. When I first put it in this is a little peat pot. It's full of peat moss.
Let's see the roots on the bottom. That's cool. Pretty soon these are going to need to be transplanted into the ground.
We've already had one batch of them that has been transplanted to the ground.
Okay. You see how tall that is, how tall it is up top. I mean, here's a pen to give you some idea. That's probably about at least 10 inches tall.
Yeah.
Very cool. And so how do you actually water those?
I do water. I can just water these from the top. It's not going to hurt them. When I plant a seed in these, I try not to just pour the water on top. If I could just pour it to the side or in the middle, it'll spread out. But if you just douse the top of it with water, it can dislodge the seed and the seed will come out.
Okay. What do we have growing back here? It looks like we got some different varieties of sunflower.
It is. These are newly planted probably about 5 days ago.
And we already got one coming up in the corner there.
That's right. These are fast growers, sunflowers are, and they can get 10, 11, 12 feet tall.
And look how thick the stem is. It's pretty healthy.
It is healthy.
And that has a lot to do with the amount of sunlight that it's getting. When it gets enough light, it'll grow more healthy. It won't have that skinny little leg that you get. And we'll show you some more that we grew earlier that are transplanted into bigger pots. Now this is interesting. This is actually a bag of Miracle-Gro garden soil. And so we're growing stuff right in here on the shelf. Didn't even take it out of the bag. We just cut the top out of the bag and started planting stuff.
Right. When you cut the top off, you have to make sure you leave enough of the side on so the garden soil won't spill out. And you do have to remove some of it.
And what do we have growing in here?
This is a type of lettuce. There's some Butter Crunch lettuce, which is over here.
That's the Butter Crunch?
Yes. And this is just what they would call baby lettuce. You just cut it. And you don't come in and you don't cut all of it at once. You want to leave enough growth for the leaves to be able to catch the sunlight and grow more.
And it needs that for what process? Photosynthesis, guys.
Photosynthesis.
And I see something that I think I really like hanging out here in the middle.
That's right.
That right there is a sweet pea.
It is.
These are climbers. I don't know where this is going to go in here, but it's going to want to go up and attach itself to the top of the greenhouse. You see these little, I don't even know what they call them.
Tendrils.
Tendrils, thank you. And it'll attach itself to anything it can and climb and climb. And there's a couple in there.
We're doing an experiment this year. You can see this is a sunflower too. I kind of planted them down the middle. It still has the sunflower seed on it.
Yep.
If I try to tear it off, I end up tearing the plant. So it'll actually come off on its own.
And there's a couple more back here. Yeah, and I notice you have the pea plant next to each one. What are you trying to do there?
Well, it's a little experiment this year. Since the pea plant needs something to grow up, something stable to hold on to, like a pole or some kind of a splint, the sunflower grows fast too, and it can attach itself to the sunflower and they could have a symbiotic relationship. I don't know if that's the word for it.
They're helping each other out, right? And so, very cool. This looks really. How long has this been?
This has been about 4 weeks now.
Okay, very good.
This is just some pepper plants that we bought, jalapeno peppers. My brother loves them. But since we've bought them, a couple of the leaves look kind of bad. And this has started since we've been here. Put them in the greenhouse.
Okay. And that you bought these as little seedlings, right?
We bought them as little seedlings, and I planted them into a bigger pot. Now these are the microgreens that you've been showing the kids.
Yeah, I've showed you guys these. They were little tiny things. Now they're at least 6 inches. I mean, in a couple of weeks you have a food source.
Right.
That's what's amazing about this. Same with this. I mean, just in a matter of a few weeks you have a food source. Of course, you can't grow them in the winter, but it's been getting pretty cold out at night, and we got this little greenhouse, and we're still able to grow this stuff.
Right. Even if it gets really cold, you can actually grow these microgreens in the winter under a bucket, believe it or not, as long as they have a light source. And we'll experiment some with that this winter.
What do we got in the corner there?
This is some more sunflowers. As you see here, their little sunflower seeds have dropped off of them.
That one looks a little sickly, but some of these look pretty healthy. And again, I see you sneak some peas in there. I don't know if you're planning on growing those together or not.
Yes,
okay.
I am. Here's another little pea sprout coming up right there.
So when it's that small, we call it a sprout, a little sprout. This is more like a little seedling here that we have there. Very good.
And here's another pea growing with the sunflower.
So the peas are basically going to use the sunflower as a way to crawl up and grow high along with it. All right, very good. We're not even halfway done here, guys.
These are radishes.
Radishes, I don't think those are on my menu.
They're on my dad's. But they're radishes, these 2 rows. And they're really ready to plant because they're a good cold weather plant. So is lettuce.
Okay.
The squash is not doing as well. It's taking a long time, but it's still a little too cold for squash. And
so we'll have to see. We'll have to see if that actually germinates. That's the process where the seed actually starts to grow.
I want to show you. These are the cucumbers, and it took these a while to grow.
Every plant has a different cycle. Some things grow really super fast, and others don't. What about that tray in the back? Because that's pretty interesting. You want me to hold that?
Yeah, you can actually set it.
Maybe you can, because I can't do it with one hand. All right, in the back here, we have an experiment that Mrs. Suriani started inside the house. And what are these?
These are tomato sprouts, and they're very finicky to grow from seed. So I took a tomato out of our house, and I sliced it, got the seeds out, and we started germinating them in a Tupperware type bowl.
With a piece of paper towel, right? You can
right.
You point out the paper towel there.
Yeah, there's some of the paper towels here, and they have little sprouts growing from them. But Mr. Siriani was saying sometimes they get leggy. They don't have a good strong stem on them.
And so it's questionable how well that is going to work out. We'll have to see. Maybe we can get some out of this. Maybe we should have gotten them planted earlier. I don't know. This is a learning experience when you do something like that. But that's really cool that we were actually able to do that inside in a little plastic container like that you store food in.
Right.
With a paper towel and a little bit of water. Okay.
What is this process called? Where we put the clear plastic over top of it, which for like a greenhouse effect. But what is,
What we get on the top of there?
yeah, what is all of that?
Well, my 7th graders should know that for sure. That you can put that in the comments line if you know what that is. That actually is on the roof of that lid. What do we got growing here? I don't see anything.
These are gladiolas.
Oh, I do see something coming up. These are flowers. I see the one next to it is coming up.
Yeah, they actually have a bulb that stays in the ground, and these can stay in the ground all winter, and they'll grow in the spring.
So once we get these started, we'll plant them, and they will stay in the ground. Those are called perennials. They come back every year. These ones are a lot bigger. Those ones are about 4 or 5 inches tall.
Yeah, I got those in a couple weeks ahead of these.
Okay. And what are the knives?
These are arborvitaes. I took the seeds out of the cone that you gave me from the pine cone, from the arborvitae, and I'm trying to grow them from seed. I don't know if this was just something that was in
The soil.
soil,
yeah.
or if this is the actual arborvitae growing. But we'll know soon.
Arborvitae is an evergreen. It's something that stays green all year round. And out of the seed of one that gets about, well, they get 20 to 30 feet tall. They're really a tree, a shrubbery or a tree. What do we got going on here? Ooh, more flowers.
Yes.
Am I better on this side?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. These are forget-me-nots.
Look at that color. That's going to be a nice, pretty blue.
Nice, pretty blue color.
And these are annuals, right? You got to plant these every year?
Right. And these are so small, the seeds of them are so small that I planted several of them because I wasn't for sure if they would get flushed out with the water.
So there's several seeds in each one of those peat pods.
And look, there's even one growing out the side.
Huh.
You
can see their little roots down there.
I want to show you.
So when you plant these in the ground, you just take these pods and put them right in, right?
Right in, and the roots grow right out the side of them. I want to show you what a nice root system the sunflower seeds have on them.
If you can even get them out. Look at all those roots. You talk about what we see in a plant above the ground, but look at what we actually see below the ground too.
See the fibers on the roots? They can suck the roots, the minerals and the water up from the ground.
Very cool.
Those little fibers.
Okay.
We have more peas here. More gladiolas here, but they haven't even started.
Those are new. I see you got a couple, it looks like a maple tree down there.
Yeah, a little maple tree.
Oh, it's bloomed.
Look at that.
Very
It's
good.
just reaching up. Here's our celery that we grew from just the scraps of celery.
Yeah, just from the base of the stalk. It doesn't, the one looks like it's almost dead, and the other one,
it's really healthy. It's really rooted in there.
but it hasn't grown very much. So
No.
we don't know. It's a good cold weather plant. Now here's my favorite right here is these peas. And boy, do these look good and healthy.
They are really ready to plant, and our garden is almost ready to start. See, we want to hurry up and get these in the ground because they can become root bound, and then they'll get leggy and they won't.
That's when they actually have too much roots piled up in there. When we do put them in the ground, we try to loosen the bottom of that up a little bit so they can spread out.
Right.
Okay, very good. Couple more tomato. Now we bought these as seedlings.
Yes, we bought these as seedlings, so that's why they're doing so much better.
And I think they really like the hotter the better. It's kind of early to have a tomato plant.
Right.
Even though we're in a greenhouse, it hasn't been hot enough.
Now, I want to show you the difference between if you hurry up and get them. So these sunflowers came out of the same family of this.
Okay.
They were planted the same time. But about a week ago, I planted this in a bigger pot, and just see how much better it's doing.
Yeah, it's several inches bigger. The leaves are a lot bigger.
Bigger and healthier.
Very cool. And I see you got 3 in a pot back there. We're gonna have a lot of sunflowers around here this year, which I'm really happy about.
Our daughter loves sunflowers. Here's some more of her microgreens.
Now this is the same as what over here. This here that we see is the same as what we have back here, only we started them at a different time.
Right.
Okay, very good. And so that's one of the ideas behind gardening is what's the word I'm looking for? Staggering
Your growth, your planting times, because you don't want to have all of your tomatoes and all of your peas come in at once.
because you can't eat them all at once.
You can't eat them all at
Well,
once.
some of you might try, but
These are wildflowers we're growing.
this is out of a little box. You have a box down here.
Yes.
Kind of out of a little box like this. You can get these for $1 at the dollar store. And if we can get these, might end up having to stay in these. If we can get them out without ruining them, we'll get them transplanted into the ground. But we can use these in pots too, which would be nice. And what's the last thing we got back here?
Last thing we have this little. I think I'm going to remove this
Lid.
lid from it.
Yeah, this is really wet.
These are. This is corn.
Corn.
Yes. I want to bring up one of them for you.
Look at the difference in the root. It's got just one
Very hard,
and thick.
thick. Yes. It's going to be because corn plants are so, they really need a big, large root system because they do a lot of growth. They get very high. They can get 10, 11, 12 feet tall, and they have to support a lot of corn on them. They have to support a lot of weight. So it
Yeah,
has,
the center part, which will be called the stalk. I mean, it's really thick. It is bigger than the tube on a bicycle. Look at the roots on this one. Again, the really big root systems. And these are just babies. Imagine how big those roots will be. And we do feed the wild ducks with some corn to supplement what they can eat in the wild. And we always have some corn stalks that grow by themselves in odd places,
Yes.
in flower beds and stuff. And we usually just let that stuff grow. And that's about it. If you
remember when you're growing corn that you need to plant at least a couple rows of it for cross pollination.
Right. I wanted to show you this little trick after being a gardener for a while. Now what I've done in the bottom, and this is a pretty good sized pot. If you want to plant something in here, that would actually require a lot of soil. When you have old soil, even a little bit of leaves and stuff, or an old milk jug, you can cut that milk jug in half and put it in the bottom. What you're doing is you're taking up a lot of space down there. So you're not using up so much soil. You can use half the amount of soil in this that you would normally use. And so this is ready to go. We'll be using that to plant something. What about our little fertilizer? We got these jugs ready. We can use these as watering cans or a fertilizer. In here, this is some of our banana water that Mr. Fosnick taught us about. And so you let that sit in there for a week or two, and all the nutrients are absorbed out of the banana into the water, and we'll be using that. One of the common things that we use in each of the plant is some peat moss. Peat moss is it's organic matter. And you guys know we talked a lot about soil. It's very light, it's very airy. It's basically, if you looked at it, it looks like a bunch of dead stuff, right? And that's exactly what it is. So it's very good for your soil. You can see little roots, twigs, whatever. It's very good for your soil. And she's just going to sprinkle that somewhere. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys are staying safe and enjoying yourselves, and we'll talk to you real soon.